gotten access now. Are you getting this? I remember one time, and I'll tell you this. This is something that I don't say a lot. I remember a prophet in South Africa, you know him, white man, very good teacher. But I think they had a run-in with Prophet TB Joshua, and it was not good. And now I'm close to TB Joshua, but I've been invited to preach for the white prophet from South Africa. So I honored that. So I went there. But in that moment when I went there, that man was popular around the world. Kobus was popular. He had never invited any black preacher to preach anywhere near his pulpit. And do you know how he got me? Simple. I was coming from Mandela's house with Prophet Makandiwa. And then I got a call that there is a man who has been calling and calling and calling, and he says he wants prayer. I said, who is that? I said, Prophet Kobus. I said, that person, when he calls again, shout at them. They're lying. They said, these people have been calling. Then he called one of the guys we went with to Mandela's house. And we were with the guy. The guy said, yeah, he's been looking for you for years, for months. I said, okay, Prophet is going to Zimbabwe. I'm going to see Kobus. So I went there. And that's when the meeting happened where I needed to come for the conference. In that meeting, a lot happened. Even some apostles you see now in Nigeria, you know them by name. That's when they saw me. And they were young kids. In the sense of not too young, but they were still at university. And some of them were college. And they are seeing a man calling out names, white people coming out and crying and all that. It changes everything when it's another race, because people always think it's planned until another race is involved. But that access I got from Rodin Howard Brown, the access I got from Pastor Chris, the access I got from Kobus, the access I got from TB Joshua, if it was not presented well, my gifting, though big, would not be anywhere. No, they're missing this one. I know you're missing it. I see you're missing this. Are you hearing this? How was I going to be known in America? Faith TV was there, but it was just, we were not getting a lot of calls from America. We're getting many calls from Africa and UK. That's it. But it took Rodin Howard Brown to put me on the map in America. Are you hearing? It took TB Joshua to acknowledge me. For people who say TB Joshua was a prophet, and he was and still is, to say this man actually acknowledges Angel is a prophet. Last week here, we had a man of God who has got a lot of members. He came here, you just didn't see because you don't know him. He was sitting there. And when we finished ministering, they brought him to me and said, hey, the man of God, you said you wanted to see them after. He's a man of God. I said, so I started seeing the pictures of the man with his big church. And when I prayed for him as he was leaving, I said, who told you about me? He said, Prophet TB Joshua. I said, where? When was that? And how? Why did it take you this long? He said, in a vision. I said, I saw TB Joshua in a vision. And he said, go to Prophet Angel.
So that's what the prophet said. And thanks to my Gemini friend, a run-in simply means a small conflict or quarrel. Nothing serious. Like that. So that's it. Now to the main T. He spoke about how having access to certain people, especially great men and women of God, helped build his ministry. And that got me thinking. Access truly is a powerful thing, not just in ministry, but in life. But most importantly, access is biblical. Let's think about it. Throughout the Bible, we see that God uses connections and access as a channel to elevate, train, and empower his people. Nobody rises in isolation, even Jesus. Yes, Jesus walked with men. When God wanted to raise Joseph, he didn't do it by magic. He gave Joseph access to Pharaoh's court. Genesis chapter 41 tells us that Pharaoh said to Joseph, "See, I have set you over all the land of Egypt." That kind of favorite, that kind of influence came because Joseph had access to Pharaoh. But before that, he had access to the butler in prison. So sometimes the people you meet, the ones God connects you with, are divine doors to your destiny. Let me pause and say this. Access is not the same as favoritism. Access is divine arrangement. It's when God positions you near people who carry what you need to grow, learn, and become what He has called you to be. Look at Elisha and Elijah. In 2 Kings chapter 2, Elisha received a double portion of Elijah's spirit. But how did it happen? Because he stayed close. He had access to Elijah's life, his walk with God, his wisdom, his anointing. And when Elijah was taken up, Elisha cried, my father, and the mantle fell upon him. If Elisha hadn't valued that access, he would have missed the mantle. That's why proximity matters. Who you walk with shapes who you become. Proverbs 13 verse 20 says, "He that walks with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools